It's been 2 weeks since the Cup cars took the track for a race, and here's how the point standings turned out after Bristol 2 weeks ago. The top three are still the same: Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Logano just got his third win of the season, allowing him to move further up on the chase grid. Brad Keselowski, a single-time winner this season, has moved up to fourth in the point standings. And we're getting down to crunch time for making the chase. Some drivers hoping to at least make it on points. Some drivers need to win to make it in, especially those right on the bubble. Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Coors Light Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each Sprint Cup race. Brad Keselowski took his first pole of the season in qualifying for this race on Saturday, and that makes 5 Sprint Cup poles for the Team Penske cars this year. Joey Logano got the team's first 4 poles earlier this year. And here's the starting grid for the Bojangles Southern 500 at Darlington. Brad Keselowski makes up the front row along with Kurt Busch. Keselowski running a Bobby Allison throwback with a Miller High Life scheme. Kurt Busch throwing back to the early days of Gene Haas involvement in NASCAR. In row 2 is Kevin Harvick with a original Budweiser tan throwback, and Joey Logano with an old Le Mans Shell Pennzoil scheme. Jeff Gordon, one of the few drivers ironically not running a throwback, is in row 3 along with Denny Hamlin with a Sport Clips throwback to Cale Yarborough. Martin Truex Jr. and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. throwing it back to David Pearson are in row 4. Brian Blaney in his Wood Brothers photo mosaic throwback is in row 5 alongside Kyle Busch. Eric Almirola, throwing back to the King, Richard Petty, is in row 6 along with Paul Menard with a throwback of his father's company, Menards. Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth are in row 7. Casey Kane with the throwback to the early days of Hendrick Motorsports is in row 8 along with the mellow yellow throwback of Kyle Larson. Tony Stewart and Trevor Bayne with a Mark Martin throwback are in row 9. In row 10 is Jimmy Johnson throwing it back to the early days of Lowe's and Jamie McMurray. David Reagan with a throwback to his father's old Winston Cup scheme is in row 11 along with Chase Elliott, also with a paint scheme inspired by his father from the 1980s. Ryan Newman with a Caterpillar throwback and Greg Biffle with an old Ortho scheme are in row 12. Matt DiBenedetto and Dale Earnhardt Jr. with an old Valvoline scheme are in row 13. Justin Allgaier and Clint Boyer with a tribute to the late Buddy Baker make up row 14. In row 15 is Austin Dillon with a scheme inspired by an old Richard Childress car, and Danica Patrick with a mostly black GoDaddy scheme will start in row 15. Landon Castle with a tribute to Sterling Marlin and Casey Mears will start in row 16. Sam Hornish Jr. with an old Mark Martin-inspired Winn-Dixie scheme, and AJ Allmendinger will start in row 17. In row 18 is Alex Bowman with a tribute to Tommy Baldwin with an old modified scheme, and JJ Yaley will start in row 18. In row 19 are the front row drivers Cole Whitt and David Gilliland. Michael Annett with a Pilot Flying J throwback, and Brett Moffitt, the third front row driver, will start in row 20. Jeb Burton paying tribute to his father Ward, and Mike Bliss with a Harry Gant throwback are in row 21. And finally, premium motorsports driver, for this week at least, TJ Bell, will round out the field in the number 98 car. Travis Quapple in a one-race deal with the Motorsports Group, Josh Wise returning to the Go Green Racing Team, and Timmy Hill in the number 62 Premium Motorsports car are the 3 drivers who failed to qualify for this race. And here's the analysis for this race. There are 43 drivers in the starting field. It's 500 miles over 367 laps. The winner will get nearly $300,000. The pit window is about 50 to 60 laps. And the defending champion of this race is Kevin Harvick.